Try before we die. Single malt Scotch whiskey, we love it, no lie. Way up in New Hampshire at the bitter end, we're gonna draw a number, then the drinking begins. There's Colin and Malcolm too. Some friends have gathered, gonna do a show for you. Bottles will open, glasses will clink. They'll take a drink and let you know just what they think. Try before we die, with a bearded man and a British guy.
You really think they should know it?
Listen, welcome back to Try Before We Die. It's another episode of your favorite whiskey show where we explore the whiskeys of the bitter end. This is a private whiskey bar, Mal. Did you know that?
Yes, in the ground floor of my friend's establishment.
That's right. We've got about 200 and ought-not bottles of whiskey in this place, and 300 total. We've opened over 60, and we don't know what we're going to drink, but it's really a random, what are we going to drink show. That's what separates us.
It is a random what are we going to drink show.
A lot of whiskey shows out there will be like, tonight it's going to be the Old Pulteney 12.
Actually,
we've done our research, we're prepared, we've read all the chapters in the book, we understand the distillery top to bottom, and we're going to tell you about it. You see, we haven't read the book, we don't understand the distillery top to bottom, we're not familiar with it for the most part, we're just going to tell you what we think.
Actually, that's a really interesting point that you bring up, because now that you say that, all the shows I have watched have been, they've known what they're talking about. Whereas we have no idea what they're talking about half the time.
We have some like basic information
Yes.
that we've gathered over time just through osmosis and experience, but not through dedicated research, and we want to be the expert.
I wouldn't say we're amateurs.
We're the layman telling you
Yes.
our experiences that we have committed to, but we're not trying to like tell you what you should experience. We're letting you know what we've experienced.
Which is, I think, is a key point for this entire series, has been our enjoyment, what we're experiencing. Whether we catch the notes, whether we don't catch the notes, but we'll tell you honestly if we enjoy it or not enjoy it.
Let me ask you a question, Mel.
Yes,
is your nose insured for $1 million?
No.
Mine neither. Though if there was going to be a nose, it would be this one.
Yeah, that room.
It is Roman, isn't it? Everybody, yeah. But the idea is that master blenders and distillers, there are about 5 or 6 in the world that have their noses insured for over $1 million because of their ability to pick up the nuances and the flavors. Mal's pointing at me. Yes,
Wasn't
Mal.
that article just recently, because of the situation we're in, there was a guy in Scotland that was really worried about what this was going to do to him, and he was scared that if he caught it, that his business that he does, which is, would be jeopardized.
So if you get the COVID, a common effect is that you lose your sense of taste and smell. And so Mal's referencing this article that he shared, maybe even in the Facebook group, but certainly that he shared with me, where there's a man who has stayed in a self-imposed lockdown, whose business is tastings, explorations with high-end clients about whiskeys and what to expect. And because he's so afraid that if he gets the COVID and his taste and his smell gets affected, he'll be compromised. So absolutely.
No, yeah, that's right.
Right. So we're not coming at this with we already know. We just want to share with you what we're experiencing, and it was time for us to open these bottles.
Yeah, I mean, it was really boiled down to the fact that, I mean, you've done a slap bam job of like putting together like
Slap?
Slap bam, bam slap, something slap.
How about bang up?
Bang up.
Yeah.
A bang up job of putting all together all these bottles in a bar that looks like a European bar.
It's a bar in the European tradition.
I mean, you've gone out of your way to find a snooker table. You've gone out of your way to find the lights for the snooker table.
Thank you.
And then you have like 300 bottles that we managed to put a dent in. And then, because we went out and about again, and then you went out and about again, we have 300 bottles back in there again.
Poof. The whiskey fairy.
And I really don't know half of them, but some of them I do.
Yep. And tonight we're gonna try a new one because it's a regular episode.
Empty space.
Yep.
And I think we got a couple guests this time around
Yeah,
again.
we have our friend Rick from Keene, New Hampshire. This takes place in New Hampshire. Rick from Keene, New Hampshire, from back in the day, the late 80s, early 90s. Thanks for joining us again this evening, Rick.
Thanks for having me back again.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome to see you. Awesome to see you. And Andy Suits. Andy, we were going over some Keene, New Hampshire stories again earlier this evening. And I think I just want to see what your reaction is when I say, yeah, a screamer.
You're a screamer.
Ah! There's some crazy nights in that house, wasn't there? We were talking about a parking meter.
I'm surprised we got our security deposit back. I don't know if we did get that.
I don't know about
shouldn't
that.
have.
That was you?
With the security deposit or the parking
The
meter?
parking meter.
I'm just going to say there was somebody on this set involved in that shenanigan.
That was right by Tony Clamatos, right?
That was right across. That was, courthouse, Tony
Yeah.
Clamatos, lawyers. It was just a busy part of town.
Yeah.
Easy walking distance.
There
was no drinking and driving. There
I
was
actually didn't have a license then, so.
That's like we were members of a club.
I think all of us were in that club. It was,
Oh my God!
there
Was there ever a time, Rick, when you didn't have a driver's license?
Before I was 16.
there's always one in the group.
One of these things.
But I can top it though. I had a license to drive a tank.
Oh, show off.
Somewhere in this bar we have a tank badge, but that's more like paintball related.
Yes.
Military actually gives a tank
I had a
driver's license.
license to drive a tank.
That is fantastic. Listen, you've spent some time here now in the bar and the property, so if things ever really go bad, grab a tank and come on up.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And I'd like to just say thank you for your service.
Yeah. Thank you for thanking me.
Army.
Correct.
Yes. Excellent.
Cavalry, to be
Cavalry.
specific.
All right.
I was a cav trooper.
All right. Excellent.
No horse.
70s, so what was it, M60?
M60, exactly. M60A3.
Did you just call him from the 70s?
Well, I just figured we knew him in the 80s, 90s.
Was it the 70s? It was the 80s.
It was the 80s, but the M60A3 was the tank of the
Oh.
80s, the early 80s, and then into the mid 80s was the M1 coming up and through.
You feel confident that if you had to hijack a current armored vehicle, you could sort it out?
I have a manual.
Excellent.
We're putting a team together, aren't we?
You wouldn't RTFM.
No.
You'd be like, oh, I played this video game.
yeah, I know that aim.
Right, Java? Right? So it's a regular episode. We've got Andy, my old college roommate, and Mal's pal. We've got Rick, just a Venn diagram connection to me, a closer one to Mal on set. We're going to pick a bottle, anywhere between 1 and 200 plus. Andy, why don't you give us a guess? What bottle number do you think we're going to pull up tonight? There are 75 behind me. There are 23 above me. There are 50 in front. There are 46 currently on the back wall because normally there would be 50. And there are 17 in the smart gun. And there are 21 in the snooker room. What number do you think? That's a total, by the way, of tonight's options of 236 bottles to choose from tonight. What number do you think we're after?
198.
So if you've seen an earlier episode, Andy is hoping for a Tomatin 18 no longer in production.
I think you got some gumption.
Yeah. You want to lean across me and press the button?
Did we play this game a couple of episodes ago?
Yeah, well, maybe this time I won't.
I'm president. I don't care.
Go, Mal, go, Mal,
Oh,
go.
I'm
You're
gonna-
like a gadget. Go, gadget,
I'm gonna
Mal.
hold it for
Go,
10
gadget,
minutes.
Mal. Go, gadget, Mal.
Oh.
173. Okay, so that puts me getting up and leaving the bar, and I suspect that we're on the back side. So I'll see you guys over there.
All right. Pick a good one.
All right, we're on the back side of the bar for the bottle pull. We were at bottle 173. So we have 148 before we got here. We have 10 across, 58, 68. I like to look ahead before I get there, and so I can know before you know. 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73. Mal will be happy to know we're drinking a Speyside this evening. Amazingly light color. I'd ask Mal to guess, but he won't. He can't. He'd never ever get it. Matured and hand-selected oak casks. Traditional, 40% alcohol. We're going to move on to the bar and we'll talk to Mal about what it is. Don't be looking, Mal.
Oh, come on.
You think it's Canadian or Scottish?
It's Scottish.
It's kind of like you knew.
No, it came from the
Look
bar.
look how light this is.
Holy
What?
water.
Holy cow.
Holy cow.
It's like our toast from the other night. Huli pow. Hawaii.
Hawaii, that's right.
It's a Benromach. It's a no age statement, matured in hand-selected oak casks.
You said it was a Speyside?
It is a Speyside. Benromach's been around since 1898. It's considered a traditional. It's 40% alcohol. Distilled and matured at the smallest working distillery in Speyside. Benromach uses spring water from the nearby Romac Hills. I wonder where the Ben comes from. Benromach. The finest malted barley and hand-selected oak casks. The result is a rich, mellow whiskey with fruity and malty tones, balanced with a hint of smoke. Rick, does this whiskey scream smoke?
No, not even a little bit. It looks more like the water coming out of an Indian pump to put the fire out.
I was just gonna go with town water, but yeah, this does not look like a peated whiskey. Not that a whiskey. We've learned so much, Mal.
Correct.
Our expectations are just constantly being shattered. There's a government warning on here. Remember we were going to put our own government warnings on things? Beware of the government. They're letting you down. They're tricking you. But it probably says something like, if you don't pay your taxes, we'll knock on your door. Yeah, no age statement.
It is like almost clear.
There are plenty of words that we could describe this would be inappropriate.
Correct.
But Andy, could you give us an appropriate colored...
Oh. No, let him go, let him go. Come on.
It looks like a Chardonnay or something.
I tell you, he's playing us.
He's got some practice
No, he's playing us.
in listening to the descriptions he's already
Oh, do
heard.
you think so?
I think it's like a compensation.
Oh,
it's called.
Inspector Clouseau.
He
Yes.
had a great coping mechanism. I did.
Yes.
It looks like a shot. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so the Benromach, no age statement, traditional Scotch whiskey.
I think I got you to 12. I want to say I
I
got you to
feel
12.
like we've opened a Benromach before. The open shelves are so
No,
full.
actually, you know what? You know what it is? We finished one up at Ramblewood.
No,
Yes.
no.
Okay, I'm telling you, we did.
We may have, but I feel like we've done a review of one. I can see it from here. The classic Speyside malt Scotch whiskey, 10-year-old.
Maybe I got you.
And it's the old labeling, and we talked about that on the review.
Oh, actually, I do. Yes. Now.
Why do I always have to like reel you back into the memory?
Because I live in like an alternate reality. I'm old, dude. I struggle with this.
I feel like Rick wouldn't let me down like you.
He
let
probably
me down.
wouldn't. He probably wouldn't. He's ex-military.
older
He's
than you.
ex-military.
Yeah.
He's got a lot more systems involved with what's going on. Me, I'm just, old, decrepit.
You'd be like, oh,
Old yellow.
the tank's not responding like my Xbox controller says it is. And then this would be you, and here comes Rick. Andy, do you play video games?
I play one video game,
What's it called?
World of Tanks.
Oh, really?
Oh my
PC?
gosh.
Yeah, PC.
We gotta catch up.
Well, there it is, folks.
My wife will hate you.
In our world, it's the left side of the bar, but in your world, I think this would be the right side of the bar, and we have the wrong side of the bar. What do you got, Andy?
It was the pandemic, and I was isolated, and I needed something to do.
Good man.
But now I'm.
Now
I don't have an excuse.
That's right. That's why you paid for a living.
All right. We're going to open this bottle of Benromach, traditional, very Chardonnay colored whiskey. Let's find the opening seal. Hints of smoke. That's throwing me off, Rick.
Hints of, yeah, same here, especially with the color.
This is like 3 out of the last 10 bottles we've had that have been against the grain of what they should be. We just did one, episode 1. Supposed to come from Ireland.
Oh my gosh. I think in the release notes I note something like our expectations were shattered.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Twist.
Lively.
A little bassy. It had a little depth to it. Andy, you're a drummer. That had a little bit more bass to it.
It was kind of like a.
Would you say that was a timpani?
I'm not going to share the cork with
Floor
you
drums?
Maybe it was a conga.
Toms. A conga. He said it was a conga.
If you get in the line.
Here. Conga. Look at you. Thank God you wouldn't.
You got something to say? You got something to say?
No, just pour the
Could you
drinks.
enunciate?
Just pour the drinks.
From here on, I want every word pronounced.
Pour the drinks. Actually, that's one thing my wife will say about
Drinks,
this show.
Not the drinks.
She's like, you actually are trying to announce all your words. I'm like, yes, I am.
Enunciate.
Yes.
All your words. Announce is what an announcer does.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Shh.
You weren't scared on that one.
Got anything to say?
No, that was impressive.
All right. That's like British music. It was tinny and tangy.
Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode.
Okay, so it's even clearer in a glass.
It really is whiny.
It doesn't even look like Chardonnay anymore.
Yeah.
No, it's like,
And the legs are a little thin.
It really drops right back in so quickly.
It smells good.
All right, again, the tasting notes. Rich, mellow whiskey with fruity and malty tones balanced with a hint of smoke.
Check out the legs though.
Very thin, right?
But pronounced. Feel that I'm subtle.
it smells like a Chardonnay. You sure it isn't a Chardonnay?
I'm filling my own. 'cause
You are.
I watch how you pour.
It does smell good though.
Just a hint of smoke.
And it is just a hint of smoke.
It really is truly just a hint. Rick, what are you picking up?
It's fresh. Like it's
We were talking earlier about your
Yeah.
preference for a younger whiskey
younger
sometimes.
whiskey. And so I think this one would be a younger whiskey.
If I were to hazard, I'd be in that 6 to 8 year range.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nutty.
Really?
Yep.
That might be the malty tones,
Yep.
Malcolm?
Yeah, there's the malt.
Yeah. Mr. Suits, anything you're noticing? Are you getting the smoke?
I'm getting more bite than I would expect from looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
We get a lot of that deceptiveness of color. And we've been deceived on the nose many times too of, oh, and then amazingly smooth, or, oh, that's very light and fragrant, and then like, oh, tastes so medicinal.
But it does mellow after you let it sit.
And there is that smoky hint at the very end.
It is just a hint of smoke. It's almost as if they did 3 days of drying barley, and in the last 6 hours they threw some peat into the fire. Right? It's very light. It's very light. I'll agree with you, Rick, that it's, I don't want to say immature, but I guess I'll go with young.
Young.
This feels like a young whiskey.
Yes.
And not a criticism.
No.
Right, but it's not robust. It hasn't taken on a lot of 10, 15, 20-year flavorings from wood.
No, but they put the package together really well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's enough taste in there that you can definitely pick up some of the subtle taste. You definitely got that malt,
Yep.
and you definitely got a little hint of that smoke.
Yes. I agree. The Benromach, traditional, no age statement, 40%. Chardonnay colored, hint of smoke whiskey.
The colorblind painter.
Yes. So I think as we wrap up tonight's episode of Try Before We Die and our continuing efforts to open all the bottles in the bar, why don't we go to, would you rather go to Turkey or Azerbaijan?
It won't matter.
I asked you a question. It's one or the other.
Let's go to Azerbaijan.
All right, so the traditional drinking cheers toast in Azerbaijan, to y'all out there and to all of us at the bar, is, the pronunciation, by the way, gentlemen, is to the right in the
Yeah.
parentheses, is
Nush
Olson.
Nush Olson.
Olson, like their mercantile in Little House on the Prairie.
Oh yeah, the shop.
You know what? This is easy to drink.
Yeah, it's got this little sweetness, but it really just wraps up with this smoky, but it's so faint.
Yeah. Would be a dangerous whiskey to have.
You could just carry on with this bottle.
I think my mom would like